Hello, my name's Dominic Fonte with Cutler Real Estate. Thanks for tuning in today. I have a segment I want to talk about that's very unusual in the real estate market. Now, this is when not to sell your home. As a salesperson, a real estate agent, a lot of times you think about, okay, we're thinking of who can we help to buy or sell real estate. In some cases, when you listen carefully to the client, sometimes they don't even really know what they need. So as an advisor to the client, you want to make sure that you're doing what's in their best interest, and in the long run, you'll benefit many fold. So I had a couple from church. They were an elderly couple, and out of the blue, I get a call, and the gentleman saying, his name's Jim, he says, Dom, he said, I want you to show me a condo. And I said, oh, hi, Jim. What's on your mind? Why are you thinking of condos? And he says, well, he says, I'm getting up in years, I have 5 boys, they're all raised, I'm a principal, I'm used to doing all my own things, and the yard's getting to be too much. The tree limbs, the maintenance, the laundry in the basement, and so forth. So I said, fair enough, I understand you have a specific price range area that you're interested in. And he had 2 or 3 condos that he and his wife were looking at, and he wanted me to show them to him. So I said, fine. So I met him out at the condos, and as we were looking at these condos, 1 or 2 had 2 steps and 3 steps, 1 step, and I was observing how he was struggling getting up and down those steps. And so we looked around through the condos, and out of the 3, there was one in particular that he liked. It had 1 step in, and he liked the idea of paying a homeowners association fee and not worrying about the exterior maintenance as well as yard work, snow removal, and so forth. So after we talked a few minutes, it was funny because his wife really didn't say too much. She was just letting him, run with it, because he's the one that really wanted to downsize because of the, just trying to keep up with the work. So he says, if you have a few minutes, could you come by my house and take a look at it? Because we'll probably need to sell our house. So I said, sure, where do you live? And so I followed him all the way back to his house. So we get back to the house, Jim and Evelyn, the couple that lived there for like 45 years. First time I ever saw the house, so I pulled in the driveway with them. They opened the garage door, they walk into the house, and we plunk ourselves down in the living room. So they're both sitting there, and I just said, well, what did you think of the condo? And we talked about it a little bit, and he liked the idea of the maintenance free, which makes sense. So as I was looking at his house, I'm thinking, wow, not 1 step. You pull in the garage, no steps, you just walk right into the house. So we're sitting in the living room, we're discussing it a little bit more, and so I said, Evelyn, what do you think about all this? And so she deferred to her husband and said, well, Jim wants to do this or that because he can't keep up with the yard. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? She goes, well, it doesn't matter what I think, it's what we're trying to do for Jim. And I thought that was kind of unusual. So I said, would it be all right if I take a quick look around the house? So I look through the living room, I look into the kitchen, I look into the bathroom, I go down to the basement, of course, where the laundry is, and I'm trying to understand. Now, they've been there since 40 to 45 years, so you can imagine they have quite a few things in the house. So I look at the house, I'm thinking to myself, okay, Jim, if you had a magic wand, would you be willing to stay here? Would you like to stay here? He goes, no, I just can't manage the work. I said, well, what is it about the house that you want to change? And he says, well, Evelyn has to go downstairs and do the laundry, so I'm worried about the steps. And then Evelyn chimes in and says, well, I can still do the steps, it's not a problem. And then Jim says, well, I'm worried about down the road if something happens to me, I want to make sure she's taken care of. And I understood that. So then I said, what else is it about the house that if you could change, you could stay? And he says, well, the shower, he goes, there's a big tub, I have to lift my foot over. I have a handrail to hold on to, but I just can't get my leg up. And I noticed that when we were looking at the condos that he wasn't doing so well going up the steps. So laundry, bathroom, and then the final thing was yard maintenance, spring and fall cleanup, tree limbs, the usual, leaves. So I look and I'm like, you know what? He has 2 front closets, so we could probably put a stackable washer and dryer in one of them. And then we tear the tub out, we put a 5-foot shower, ADA, handicap accessible shower in there. And then you really don't have to use the basement anymore because that solves the laundry room issue. It also solves the bathroom issue. And that would be several thousand. There was a gentleman from church that could easily do these things. So then about the yard. So I said to him, Evelyn and his wife was cutting the grass, and they said, well, they're still doing it, but it's just getting to be too hard. I says, well, if we go to a condo, you're going to pay a homeowners association, a couple hundred or more a month. to take care of the maintenance and exterior. So I said, well, you've been here like 45 years, you know, shingles are updated, furnace is updated, you know the good and bad about the house. And so I said, you know what, why don't we see about getting these things done for you? And I said, why don't you open up a savings account, put 125 bucks a month in, and that will be your slush account, so that when you get to the point where you need some fall cleanup or spring cleanup or possibly snow removal or grass cutting, you have money built up into account like an HOA for a condo, but then you save the money of moving. And it's really not even the money of moving as much as the stress. And when I shared that with them, Evelyn started crying. She just broke down because she really didn't want to move. And they were trying to figure out a way to solve Jim's problem. Well, after we had this discussion, they were able to open a savings account, put the money aside, and over the next 10 years, they stayed in their home. They were so happy. I hope this video finds you well, educated, inspired, and living a happy life.